if she's pulling the, oh, my head hurts every time. Whenever it's not that time of the month, her head hurts.
That's the nice option. Like, yeah, I'm doing laundry right now. I ain't got time for that. It's like, you're not, laundry does itself. I don't understand. I'm washing these clothes. You see me washing these clothes?
No, that is true.
She ain't even folded. All right, welcome back. For those who are back, if those who are here for the first time, welcome to the Better Than One Marriage Podcast. Kisses and all that stuff. Yes. I'm Ron.
And I'm Chelsea. And we're still married.
This is the Better Than One Marriage Podcast, where two people are literally better than one.
Amen.
If it was just me on here, it would be a comedy hour.
This is true.
In my heart, I feel like I could be a comedian.
Yes.
But I don't feel like that's my calling, because like being funny is different than having jokes to say.
That's true, because some people are more funny off the cuff,
right?
But not in preparation.
Not in preparation.
Think like, too long, you ain't funny no more.
Just being funny doesn't mean you know how to write a joke.
Right.
It's like, it's a lot easier to be off the cuff. It's like, it's cool because it's like, oh, you know, ha, you're funny, cool. Then it's like, cool, I'm going to write jokes now. It's like, okay, make us laugh.
Right.
It's just like.
And that's the thing, too, because then people have expectation and they're sitting there like, is this going to be funny or no? And they kind of don't want it to be.
They don't want
so
it
that
to
they
be.
can say, ha, ha,
You're
ha.
starting behind. If you're a comedian, you're starting behind.
Yeah.
So I commend all the comedians out there.
Well, especially joke writers, because that was a good point. Not all comedians write all their own jokes.
That's true. Some people be hating though. Actually, some of the greats have gotten their jokes written for.
Mm-hmm.
Like even Eddie Murphy, Kevin Hart. I'm not saying, well, Kevin Hart, he's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say he's one of the. I mean, he's one of the most prolific. He's probably the most successful.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not as much as Eddie Murphy was in the 80s. It's hard to compare because we weren't really there.
Right.
But it's also hard to imagine someone who was more successful than Kevin Hart at any point.
Mm-hmm.
Just based off of his trajectory, it's just like, whoa, you're a comedian. Or are you a movie star? Or are you a mogul?
That's the thing, though. The Eddie Murphys, the Martin Lawrences, the Richard Pryors, those people, like, they had movies.
Right.
Not were in movies. They had movies, and they were playing, like, multiple parts. And, well, Eddie Murphy was.
Eddie Murphy, yeah.
Was playing multiple parts. But, like, Big Mama's House, like, Martin Lawrence was Big Mama.
He was Big Mama.
It's like, it's just different.
Yeah.
Like, Kevin Hart hasn't done that yet.
No, I don't. I feel like that's not his.
Yeah, it's not him.
Because at this point, he would have done it.
Right.
He's actually trying to transition into, like, more serious stuff.
Which is
very
interesting
funny.
And funny.
It's funny. He's so funny. It's hard to take him seriously in a serious role.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's, on the smaller side, so it's really funny.
What was that special he had on Netflix? The little short series that we were watching.
It was called, what was it, like Real Life or True Story? I think
True Story. That was good.
Yeah, it was good.
That was actually really good.
It was good.
He did good.
The stuff, unexpected stuff coming out, but of course
Yeah.
he looks so funny. He's also, spoiler alert.
Right.
Somebody's trying to blackmail him, and he comes out, he pulls, and he's like out of nowhere. It's like, who is this guy trying to blackmail? And he ends up, strangling this person.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks so ridiculous because it's Kevin Hart and he's small.
And it was a tall guy.
And the dude was tall on top of it, so it's just like, this just is funny still. Like,
Yeah.
This is terrible.
That's funny.
Yeah. Shout out to the comedian.
Yeah, for real. And all the feedback that we've gotten so far, everybody keeps saying, Ron is so funny. Ron is a mess.
Listen.
That's what everybody keeps saying.
I'm just, when you get into this space, Chelsea, it's hard to sometimes remain authentic. I guess for some people. But especially, because church people, and I'm sitting there reading some of these titles. It's like literally the title for the day is like, let's talk about sex. How to have great sex. Mm-hmm. Let's pray. Amen.
Right.
And it's just like, ooh, they would never talk about how to have. It's one thing to be like, we want to improve your sex life. And it's very vague.
It is. It's very
right?
sweet
Very
and very.
sweet. It's a whole other thing. So this is how you have great sex.
Right. like talking about the actual logistics,
The logistics of it.
not just love the Lord, love your spouse,
Oh man.
have intimacy, not just sex.
Yes. Stay on course with your intercourse. Yes.
I need to make a note of that. Intimacy versus sex.
Yeah. Into me. See, that's what our great friend Michael Dixon said.
And mind, I wanted to say too, because I was thinking he's the only one I've seen be in church and be straight up. Like he's in here telling you about the mechanics of sex.
You've never heard the word clitoris until Mike Dixon. It wasn't even at church, right? It was at a college church event.
First of all, the body of Christ is wherever we are. But nah, we were at it was a sex workshop. Yes. But it was for the church, and all the people there were from the church.
Certainly.
So it was a very church-like atmosphere, and he definitely says, what did he say?
Was it a diagram?
He said there is only, no, but he said there is only one organ that God created on the male or female body that was created only for pleasure. Right. And that is the clitoris. And then he just moved on.
He just moved on. Like that was the only.
Just keep in mind the clitoris.
That's only funny because that was a leap and a stride that he took right there.
And he understood too, because he's like, I'ma just leave it right where it is and move right along, so y'all don't have too much time to think about the fact that I just said it.
No pun intended.
Hilarious.
He's trying to warm them up to what's coming next.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna have diagrams and tips. It's like, oh my gosh. People clutching pearls.
Indeed.
My goodness.
People clutching pearls right now with us just repeating it.
Yes, sir.
But you see what you're in for, guys.
Yes. Sex and how to have a good one.
Amen.
All right. You normally do the marriage news headline.
I sure can, yes. Our marriage news headline for today is from Fox News, and it says, secret spending by spouses may actually strengthen the relationship. I have a little blurb from the article here. Although close relationships require openness, many partners at times choose not to tell the other about their consumer behaviors. Yet this guilt leads to a greater investment in the relationship, according to a recent study. The study noted that experiencing guilt from keeping a consumer behavior a secret, even one as mundane as secretly eating pizza, will lead individuals to want to do something positive for the relationship.
That's interesting.
That's hilarious to me. Lying to your spouse actually helps your marriage because you feel so guilty that then you do something nice for them.
That's interesting. I didn't even see the end of the blurb. I didn't even realize that. I thought it was like, this is what when I read the first part, I thought it was saying that if you hold this back from your spouse, they won't know, and it'll give them enough time to love you before they can break up with you because of that reason.
Nope.
And it's like, no, it's just you feel so guilty. Like, all right, I need to go do something good for him.
That's so terrible.
That is pitiful.
And the fact that, like, this news headline was literally, like, across, like, different major news platforms. Like, a lot of them were sharing the same article.
Terrible.
Like, this is a thing. Like, a Harvard study. Was it a Harvard study? Hold on. No, I'm sorry. No. Journal of Consumer Psychology. But either way, they're just like, new study shows that. And it's like, now, this is why you got to be careful where you get your marriage advice from.
These are facts.
Because they're out here like, you know what would make your marriage better?
This is our advice for the day. That's what they was giving out.
Lord Jesus.
That's really bad. That's very pitiful. Because people might literally take that and run with it. Oh, okay, so I'm good. You don't need to know about this crack addiction. Mm-hmm. Hey, as long as I'm buying him the gifts he want, come home with a pair of Jordans every day. Stolen, but pair of Jordans.
Okay.
Gotta cover up my addictions.
Oh no.
Spending habits. They're gonna say eating pizza. You a chocoholic. Why you always got brown residue somewhere. Like,
you got chocolate again, didn't bring me some. No.
Oh, you got brown residue in the car seats and on shower curtains. Like, what is going on?
No, I didn't get any chocolate. You want a sandwich? I'll make you a sandwich. Let me make you a sandwich. What you want with your sandwich?
Man. We do not condone nor support lying to your spouse about anything. But I do think that there can be a positive to not knowing everything.
I agree with that.
Right, because it gives you a chance to see better qualities as opposed to leading with, oh, this is my drug addiction. You know, it's like,
well, let's not use drug addiction as the
okay.
example.
Well, that's right. That's a if you can hold that as a secret, that's a true secret.
Yeah.
But I have a problem. We can go with the example they said. Like, I have a secret pizza addiction. It lets people know, like, oh wait, she's a nice person. She has good financial stability. She's cleanly. You know, she ain't no nasty woman, as they would say. And then he comes to find out why. It seems like he goes. This is them. We're gonna play the part.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm coming home. Oh, I'm home. Hey, I'm home from the job, and what's that smell? Why is it every time I come home it smells like pepperoni in here? Can't be anything. But he keeps coming back. Eventually, she's like, "Hey, honey, did you smell that? It always smell like pepperoni." And she in the laundry room trying to stuff.
No, honey.
Huh?
I don't know. I don't smell it.
Huh?
I don't smell anything. You want a sandwich?
You want a sandwich? Or
make
some
you a
great
sandwich.
sex.
Right, exactly. And that's a thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's a thing.
Good
I know a
old-
lot of people that are like, let's just have sex so that we feel better and we like each other again and not address
That's a
it.
can of worms right there. You keep coming out naked. Here's the thing, women.
You keep coming
This
out
is game.
naked.
This
Have
is
mercy.
the real game for you married couples out there. Is men can't really resist naked women like that. Like, it really doesn't matter. I think D.L. Hughley had a joke about that. Every time he having an argument with his woman, she want to walk around being naked. You know, I can't be mad at you because you're naked. What are you doing? Put some clothes on so I can, get to yelling at you. Can't do it. That's another reason why you can't put yourself in compromising situations.
No.
You can't. That's a whole nother episode on infidelity or whatever. But it's like, as men, like, we don't have, like, you can't be naked. Like, we can't, like, it's very hard. Like, like, you can't be going to hotel rooms and, like, imagine if you go to a hotel room, and especially if you're like a basketball player or somebody famous, and shit, somebody in a finagle they way past the front desk and lie, that's my fiance, and got a key, and in there naked. That's a bad combination.
Yeah. No, because men are visual.
Yes.
And that's just not.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good. But for you married couples, hey,
Right.
get to being naked. He
Right.
likes you. Don't let me come home from work and you walking around naked. It's like, did I do something to earn this? No, I've been eating pizza. So come on and get this.
/ the AC is broken. Actually, nothing to do with you.
Oh, man.
And we should sit very still because it's hot.
Yes.
Hilarious.
We definitely should. So, this is our word of the week. Again, this is sex part 2.
Amen.
But I'll read the definitions again. State of being male or female. To arouse the sexual desires of or a heterosexual intercourse involving penetration of the vagina by the penis, or intercourse such as anal or oral intercourse that does not involve penetration of the vagina by the penis. And we can talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk.
What's the first question of the day?
What makes sex good sex to you?
Let's get a back question, because this is a back question I was thinking about asking. Is, how do you know when I'm in the mood? Or what do you think puts me in the mood?
What do I think puts you in the mood?
Yeah.
When I do something responsible. That's always a go-to. Like, don't let me, or if I like anticipate a need.
That's very funny.
Which is funny because back to love languages, one of your love languages is acts of service, and the other one was gift giving.
Yes.
So like, if I do something for you or for the family or for the household or something, I notice that really like you receive that very well. Which is pretty consistent with your results of your love languages
Is
test.
it? I wouldn't even feel that way. At least maybe that's what's going on and I didn't notice it. But I would say, I don't know, if you're a little more playful that day, and if you're wearing something I like.
Well, yes, that too.
Especially like a hairstyle or if you have small hoop earrings specifically. I don't know what it is about the small hoops, but I can't do it. It's like, y'all got to go to bed, kids. I'm sorry. Because your little brother or sister's on the way, so you got to go sit down somewhere.
Mercy.
You put them small hoop earrings in, and you know I like buns. You was wearing a bun the other day, too. I said, man, she's trying to have another kid. She got to go on. You got to go on with that. I just got home from work. I am not trying to have another kid on the way.
Have mercy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I noticed that if if you were to come home and like I made like butter steaks with gravy and rice and like I don't know, some church tasting string beans or something like that. But you didn't know I was going to do it, and I have it done before you get home from work, and I make you a plate.
You're doing too much.
It's a wrap.
That's called what we going to call them.
Okay.
What are we going to call it? That's what that's called.
So what's their name going to be?
What's their name going to be?
Terrible.
Yes.
Well, I'll ask you the same thing. How would you know that I'm in the mood?
I can tell in your I could tell in your face. No, a lot of times you'll say something, but it's a look in your face. I can see that you thought that I was attractive.
Oh.
At that moment. It's a slightly longer linger. You naturally already think I'm sexy because you want me bad. We've been through this. But it's an extra linger. It's like I want you bad. Very, very devious, very mischievous look.
That's funny.
I was like, oh yeah, she wants this.
Okay.
And she's gonna get it.
Y'all pray for my husband.
You're gonna get it.
He ain't right.
Yes.
That's funny.
Okay, but back to the question that you asked me.
Yes. What makes sex good sex to you?
Oh, this is already said. Well, here's the thing. That's an answer right there.
What's the answer?
Well, it says both.
Oh, that's my answer. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's your answer?
I sent him the outline, but I forgot. Yeah, I had put my answer in there. So don't pay that no mind. Just say your answer.
Well, that was my thing. Here's the thing. The joy I get from sex is being able to pleasure you in sex. So,
which I think is very sweet.
Well,
I know that it's not meant to be sweet, but it's sweet.
Well, I feel like, well, what's the point? It's like, well, there's a lot of guys out here, and if you're, sir, if you're out here going for yours, okay, and you just pulling stuff out and putting stuff in places, you got to, you ain't warming the woman up. She ain't aroused. There ain't no moisture down there. It's just, sir, get yourself together. All right, what are you doing? Okay. But,
well, let's speak nicely, because maybe he doesn't know.
Maybe,
and
sir,
if you didn't know,
sir, you know who you are, and you knew. Okay. Now
some people really don't.
Other people who don't know is she is supposed to be aroused. So when you come in for your penetration, it's supposed to be an easy come together. It ain't supposed to be all rough. Like, Lord have mercy, this is an internal organ here. have mercy, God. But that's for me is generally, if you get your orgasms, that's generally just great sex for me, because I'm getting mine. That's a general guarantee.
Gotcha.
But making sure you get yours, and that you're satisfied.
Cool. Like I said, I know that it's not coming from a place of being sweet, because part of that is you being visual, and part of that is male ego, as far as like, like it's an erotic thing for the man, for the female to be pleasured and responsive. Oh yeah. So, very much so. And I have to tell a very quick story about responsive. So speaking of that workshop we were at,
oh, man. Go ahead.
With Mike Dixon.
I don't even remember. Go ahead.
I do. So So he's talking about like things that men need in sex from the women, and he said we need feedback, like we need y'all to ooh and ah and whatnot, yes. And demonstrate that you're enjoying what we're doing. Yes. And you're all like, amen, all hard, all loud. Nobody else is talking. It's quiet. He's all like, yes. And then, of course, everybody's looking. I'm like, we don't have that problem. I was so embarrassed because I felt like the way he said it, everybody was like, oh, she must be all
she
quiet.
All quiet. They having that dry sex. That's what's going on over there.
Which that could be taken either way. Like, ill, she's boring, or whoa, is he doing it right?
And I was just saying I agree. I
right,
I was being overzealous.
You wholeheartedly agreed.
Like
that's all.
Like I was waiting to get that off my chest. Like, yeah, I can't wait for them to know. I need the mooahs. I ain't getting. That is funny.
That is so funny. No, but I remember I was just like, oh, because I'm already just not as, you're definitely a life of the party guy. I don't think you go in with that intention, but just your person, just the way that you are, like the same way you are on the podcast. That's just you. Yeah. You know, you're just charismatic. So we go places and you're not shy or like reserved at all.
That's
like,
not true.
No bones in your body.
If I'm uncomfortable, I am reserved, but I'm rarely uncomfortable.
When are you uncomfortable?
I mean, now I'm not uncomfortable.
That's what I mean. I mean, for the past few years at least, I don't even remember anymore if it happened. So
I've been out here. Yes.
At this point, no, but I am not that way. Like if I'm an introvert, except for with the people that I am close to. Mm-hmm. So it's weird because I have people in my life that are like, oh, you talk so much, you never shut up, and you're so goofy, and you're funny, haha, and you're fun. And then, but those are people that know me intimately, like in my inner circle. Anybody outside of that circle, they're always like, you're so quiet, you're so shy. Like, do you remember when I went to Riziri, they gave me the most shy award?
Yeah, they was lying.
Yeah, like, and I'm not shy. I just don't talk when I don't know people. I don't know. It's just a thing. But you, and I think there is a part of me though that can be a little bit shy, in like social situations like that one where we didn't know nobody in there. And I mean, you knew Mike Dixon. Yeah. I didn't really know him that well, and that was the first time I had ever seen his wife. I'd never even met her before that day. So it's like, I don't know nobody in here. You were a little more familiar with a few people, but you know, I'm not going to be all like, what do they call that? The peanut gallery. When I
going in there all progressive.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Preach on, brother.
Right. And then it's like, not to mention now everybody turned and looked at us. I'm like, oh my gosh, can somebody just... I just need something to put over my face.
That is so funny. I did remember that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Nah, but I think everybody knew. Well, I just had to give the disclaimer though. I'm like, that's not us. That he just agrees that's not us. Yes. Too funny.
That is too funny. But we do need the ooh-ahs.
Right. But that's sweet, though, because some guys literally don't. Like, some guys literally do just like, oh, yeah, I get to have sex. And they're just thinking about how it's going to feel to them and how great it is for them and how you look to them. But they're not even paying attention to what response they're getting.
You know what? I really feel like sex is the final frontier of manhood in a way that... you can only experience having sex is that knowing that you can please a woman. Because there's something that's like, because I mean, you know, societally, is something that is always like you never know until you actually do it.
True.
So when you're in the church, have mercy. If you're in the church and you're doing things the right way, praise God for you. It's like you go in like you have no idea. It's not that type of thing. Like I can't practice.
Oh, you mean like if you waited until marriage?
Right, if you waited until marriage. But even if you didn't, you know, I mean, you can't. There's not something that you can practice and be like, oh, well, like I can't go into it like knowing. Like there's people, you know, people are insecure about size, insecure about her, what she's going to feel. Do I know what I'm doing? Like, and all you have typically people that you've been watching porn, pornography, or what your family members share with you about their experiences,
whether true or false,
with aliens apparently. Because I don't know what they was talking about.
Inside joke.
My Lord, what women are y'all messing with? But it's like you know it's something. I feel like it's something to achieve. Especially once you get married. You know, if you're going to be married to the same person, you want your spouse to be sexually satisfied.
And that's something that Mike Dixon said that I love too. The fact that like
Right.
it's harder to please the same person for years
Yeah.
than it is to just have a little fling with somebody here and a fling with somebody there. And there's an intimacy when you really get to know your spouse and like how to please them.
Yeah.
You know, where in a way that nobody else could just walk up and do because they don't know them the way that you do.
Right.
You know, like there's a special thing there, you know, special connection, special bond in that. But like it actually can be equally fulfilling because I think a lot of people think there's more fulfillment in let me please a bunch of people, you know, and let me experience this with a bunch of people.
Right.
It can also be fulfilling to like, wow, like it's 15 years later and we just had great sex. High five. Like we're doing it.
Definitely doing it. It
Yeah.
should get easier. That's the crazy part. It's like, you know.
And better too. It gets better over time. I just
Yeah.
talked to a friend of mine that's married that was saying that it gets
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, it gets better. I mean, once you learn your spouse, I mean, that's the crazy part. That's why you need the ooh-ahs, gentlemen. Like, if she's not giving, well, I guess that'd probably be in the tips. We'll talk about that. But, yeah, you need the ooh-ahs because that's the confirmation. Oh, I'm doing something right. And preferably she's not faking.
My God. All right. Yeah, we'll get there in the tips. So what makes sex good sex to me? When we both orgasm is my first. I had to make a note to myself because I didn't want to forget the things I wanted to say. When we're able to chill after, I don't like having to like immediately run off. Like I like to snuggle and whatnot afterward. And even if we're not, like we could go to the living room and be on separate couches. I don't care. Like, you know, it is nice to cuddle after, but more than likely if you cuddle after you sleep, you know, like I like to actually be awake and like, oh, and let's have a snack now. And like last time we had grilled cheese and
Yeah, that's thugging. That is thug sex right there. You gotta go cook a grilled cheese sandwich after sex.
well, if we had gotten home late that night and we didn't have like a formal dinner, we were hungry.
I didn't have two.
Well, he did, but that's all right.
Praise God. Amen.
But yep, just flipped up some quick grilled cheeses and we watched our favorite show and, you know,
And went
chill
to
out.
sleep.
That's my fave too. Because there's like a very nice intimacy after sex. That like if you just go straight to sleep or somebody leaves the house or whatever, like you don't get to experience the afterglow
It's later.
with each other.
You and your little afterglow. You
Yes,
be laying there
because
just
then you all be all
depleted. Just exhausted.
okay.
Looking just satisfied. Look at her over there looking good. Girl.
Have mercy. All right. So my next one.
I said depleted.
I have a few things. That's funny. Now I have a few things. So yeah, if we both orgasm, if we're able to chill together after, if I'm not cold, because when I am cold, it is a huge disruption.
it is a
When I'm not stressed, because when I'm stressed, like I'm already an overthinker by nature. But if I have like too much on my mind or if I'm like concerned about something, it's like it's hard for me to stop thinking about that and think about what's going on. It's like I'm not present.
That's a woman thing.
Yeah.
I won't group all women in, but yeah, that's generally more of it.
Or all men.
No.
People are different.
Well, you know what? Maybe that's true. Some men. But typically, it's like we could have sex
In the Arctic.
in the Arctic
In
with
some
a broken leg.
what did we call them shorts? In some hoochie daddy
some
shorts. In the Arctic.
And some hoochie that
Next to a polar bear.
It's like even stress. I was like, I feel like stress isn't gonna stop us from strokey doking. Yeah, it will sometimes, but it's like we want to do it because I feel like if you were stressed, you may not want to.
It's true.
Right. Whereas we're like,
And
I'm
the
stressed,
reason
let's
why,
do it.
and here's the thing, I think there's a misconception. The reason why is not that I'm not like in the mood or able to be aroused. It's that like my brain can't connect with the situation. Like I'm not focused. And if I'm not focused, I'm not going to be as well pleasured. So it's not that I wouldn't want to. It's just that I know it's kind of like a moot point. Like,
Right.
you know, let's do it at a time where I'm really going to be here.
Right.
Because then I'll enjoy it more.
Yes.
Yeah. But
Taking notes.
my last one
I'm just kidding.
but my last one is dimly lit.
Oh man.
And this is something I think to be talked about, but I don't want to go on too long because we're kind of early in the podcast and But well, in this
We'll just say
episode, I don't want to
something
just
short.
go on and on. But but no, with the dimly lit, I think it can be a thing too with having stuff on your mind. Obviously I've gained weight since we first got together. I've also birthed 2 babies and I have like a mom belly, and just stuff like that. So like I actually can't enjoy it as much if it's like bright and I'm naked. Like I either need to have like a shirt on or like it needs to be dimly lit for me to just be naked and not feel self-conscious and be thinking about it.
I understand.
Which I know is kind of bad for you because you would prefer
Lights on.
to have the lights on and me be totally naked.
Yes.
Which is endearing. But
Specifically. Endearing.
but it's like I'm just not as free, if it's just too visible.
Too visible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, tomato. We'll take what we can
but
get.
I don't know, but it helps when, you respond well though.
Yeah.
It's not like you're like, ugh, that would be bad.
And yes, and Ronald Jr. is ready to go.
Oh. Ronald Jr., that confused me a whole lot.
Not my son. He's the third.
He's a third anyway.
It's Ronald Jr.
Yes.
Yes. So what makes bad sex to you?
Okay. All those opposites. To make it very simple.
Bright lights.
If one of us or both of us do not orgasm.
Yikes.
If we are busy right away afterwards or sleeping. Which is not that bad if we're sleeping.
Right.
I mean, I like when you fall asleep right away because I'm like, it was a good one, But, but if you're like busy right after, like there's times we've done it and you had to immediately put your clothes on and go to rehearsal, or like you had to set an alarm to make sure you're not late to get somewhere or something like that, and then you're just out of here.
Yes.
And that's an exaggeration. It's not bad sex.
It's
just not my fave. It's not ideal. If I am cold, if my mind is racing or I'm stressed, or if it is too bright.
Well, I actually agree with well, maybe I don't know if I agree with, because I actually I don't like quickies like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I don't like them. I just feel like I can't satisfy you in the proper amount of time that the quickie allots for.
Mm-hmm.
I can get mine.
Right.
Let's be clear. I can get it. But that's just not enjoyable. It's not going to be as enjoyable for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like, that's bad sex to me in a certain vein, because sometimes it is what it is. But for the most part, we don't do that. You know what I mean? We like try to take our time with it.
Which can be kind of hard because sometimes we may not have the time or the energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to be super deliberate to be able to have frequent sex that is not short.
Right.
So that can be kind of
it can be
a stumbling block or a hindrance.
It can be
to just a regular occurrence, it regularly occurring.
Right.
But I get it because we enjoy it more if it's longer.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But I qualify that as half bad sex, right? Because the sex can still be good. We've had some quickies just where it is what it is. It just was fast.
Right.
But everybody's taken care of. You're squared away. I'm squared away. And it just was fast.
But like, what are you considering a quickie?
I mean, 15 minutes?
See, that's not a real quickie.
That's true, but that's
people
a quickie
be out
for
here
us,
having
though.
Quickies.
They be having a standard for them. 5 to 7 minutes.
5 to 7.
Don't look at me no more. Don't ask me no more.
Right.
But yeah, that's just not our life that we live. Like
no,
the 15 minutes is that's very fast.
It's just because foreplay, but we'll get there.
Yeah, wonderful. But yeah, and if you don't orgasm, that's mainly bad sex for me. But not bad, but not ideal.
Mm-hmm. I got you.
But yeah, or if it's whatever position is just too uncomfortable. Like,
yeah.
Listen, I'm young, but not really.
Right.
This rug, I ain't gonna be on no rug. The rug tearing these knees up. Like, hold on. We got to get in the bed somewhere.
Right. Which that's also interesting because for those of you who have children, or if you are hopeful to have children someday or anything, you have to get a little creative with your locations and with your times of day and all kinds of other stuff. And it can put you in some compromising situations. So just don't get rug burn or
Wake up with your back tore up.
Right.
Ow.
Right.
Lord have mercy. Ooh, what was a misconception? That's already funny.
It is.
Can't even share that on the
No, you
podcast.
can't.
What was a misconception you had about sex?
I feel like you can share it. You just can't just use names, but
Female and that is so terrible. That the female anatomy was not what it was specifically.
well, first of all, let's just clarify he was little. Like
Yeah,
he
I
was
was
a
a
very
child.
young child. Yeah.
Yes. But you have older cousins. It's like an older cousin. They're just older than you, so you figure, oh, they must know what they're talking about. And when you get older, you realize, man, they was some lions, some lying old suckers. But the idea was that a woman's vagina had 3 entrances, and that you could have intercourse with her in any one of them. And it's like, yeah, that sounds good. He's like, you're 8, you're 9. What I'm gonna say? Nuh-uh. Like, yeah, that sounds right. Cool.
And plus, you got to be cool. You can't be like,
I've seen
really?
that.
I don't think that's right. You just got to go with it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, that was the same thing when I
Yep.
had, a couple years ago when I was a virgin.
When
you know
I
what
was
mean?
6.
When I was 6.
I can't.
This is so dumb. So dumb. Terrible.
I can't.
That was one of the biggest misconceptions is how you view a woman and how she's even made up. If you haven't seen anything and what sex is going to be like, it's like you think, you don't know what to think. I remember a little boy, I probably was 6 or 7 then, he said, you can't have sex with them for too long or else they'll die. I'm telling you, I remember this.
That's why my child is homeschooled.
And this is in the 90s. He was dead serious. Yeah,
JK, it's okay if
can't-
your kids go to school,
can't
but
have sex with them for too long.
OMG.
She'll die if you keep having sex. I was like, oh,
OMG.
all right. Went home believing that for years.
For years. Oh my gosh.
Listen,
I literally can't.
terrible things that come from little boys' mouths.
No, and just to take it back to what we were saying earlier, where I was saying we'll take it easy on the men if they don't know, because with porn,
Yeah.
I mean, it's so accessible. It's like very few people have never watched porn. Very few, or at least soft porn or a rated R movie that had an in-depth scene or something like that. And a lot of times what's portrayed there is that you can just go in. There's no foreplay. It's
That's
just
true.
a let's go.
Yes.
But they do that on purpose because it's for it to be invigorating and exhilarating, because that slow process of foreplay is not as appealing to the eyes as going for the gusto, and it's really tailored toward men for the most part. So like for men watching it, they're not trying to, well, oh yeah, she's getting warmed up.
Warm up
It's
in here.
like, yeah, we're doing it. Let's go.
Let's go. That's a huge misconception.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
it's not everybody's fault, because if you don't know,
Yeah.
if you think that's what sex is because that's all you've seen or that's all you've been told, like, yeah, just that's the whole, put it in there, let's go.
It's in there.
She's always ready.
Always ready.
And she should be. And if she ain't, you
ain't-
got a broke woman.
She's broken.
She's broken. You
Not
need
you.
a new wife.
Definitely ain't you, my
It
brother.
ain't you. Ain't nothing you can do about
Nothing
it.
you can do about it.
Have
Ain't no way to
mercy.
warm that oven.
Have mercy. No, so a misconception I had is that men want it all the time. And that if they don't, it's like they don't want you.
See, now
Or there's a problem with you.
this is what I was alluding to earlier. Like, we don't have to be in the mood to do it. Still climax, all that. Like, we don't have to be in the mood. Doesn't necessarily mean we feel like doing it, but we can be ready to go whenever in our younger years. I don't know about, maybe older gentlemen, or people who may
Or
have
just people, sometimes
may have-
people
right,
have
may have problems with
what is it? Unbalanced
dysfunction.
hormones and stuff.
or erectile dysfunction or anything like that.
Excuse
But
me.
generally, we're just ready to go, even if we're not in the mood. But it doesn't necessarily mean we're always in the mood.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're not always rolling around like, oh, I got to. It's like, no,
Yeah.
tired as a mug. Tired as a
No,
mug.
and I think there's a misconception for women too, where like sometimes, especially as a mom, there is such a thing as being touched out. And there's plenty of like, Facebook memes, posts, all that type of stuff. I have a picture of me and the kids from the other day where they literally just came to the couch and sat on my legs. Like both of them. I'm chilling on the couch, totally comfortable, ankles crossed.
Terrible.
They both said, let's go sit right on top of mom's legs. Directly. And then they're going to wiggle around because they don't sit still. And then they're going to want to hug, and then they're going to kiss you. And then they, if they're two, like my son, they might scratch you somewhere. Or bite you or whatever the case may be. And sometimes they're wanting to give you a kiss is tongue. Because they don't understand.
This guy.
And then they tap you. Like Corey taps me all day. Mommy.
Yes.
Mommy. Hey, mommy.
What?
Hey, mom.
Get
all
off
day
me.
long. And then it's like they're following you, and you turn around and you bump into them because you didn't realize they're next to your feet, but you should know by now that they're next to your feet.
Yes.
And then you be telling them, hold on, can you just back up like 2 feet? Personal space. There's a little secret invisible box around everybody.
Yeah.
You don't need to be in that box all the time.
All in my box.
Right. But it's like there is such a thing, especially when I was breastfeeding. And JJ used to put his hand all over my face every time he would breastfeed. And if I would try to get him to stop, he would just put it back. And he wasn't even one. He was like an infant. You can't spank an infant or yell at an infant.
You can pluck them.
Yeah, I wasn't going to pluck him.
I'll do it.
And it kind of was a little bit endearing. But every now and then I would just be like, if he was going through like a spurt where he wanted to nurse every 5 minutes, like if he wasn't feeling well or he was upset or whatever, or if he wasn't sleeping and fighting his sleep, and then I just want to nurse all day. After a while, your palm on my face, it gets a little old, and then he would start plucking my nose.
Oh man, this guy is doing everything.
And it's like, I feel like, oh gosh, that needs to be a whole nother episode, like postpartum sex. And I mean, that would be it would be tailored toward men and women, because men like dealing and having certain expectations for that time period. And like being prepared and knowing how to help their wife in that time and stuff like that. As well as women knowing what to expect if they haven't been there yet, or if they have been there, just understanding that it's not just you and how you can like work together in that time. Because there was so much with me healing after giving birth. It was an extended period of time because I tore very badly. And then once I was healed, it still wasn't completely comfortable right away. He's 2 and it's still not completely comfortable, in every situation. But just that exhaustion, like just adulting is like, I'm with them all day, you're working. In some couples, they're both working. Yeah. You get tired, but when you have kids, it's something different typically with mom, where the kids are always on mom or asking mom or coming to mom. And I've been saying to Corey more recently, like, you can tell daddy, you can ask daddy, like, I'll be pooping on the toilet and she'll finish getting ready for bed and she'll knock on the door and you'll be sitting right there on the couch, sitting right there in her eyesight at the end of the hallway. Nope. Mom's in the bathroom. Let me go in there and tell her I'm ready for bed. Can you come tuck me in? No, I cannot. I'm pooping.
They know who birthed them.
And I mean, it's endearing. It is endearing. I understand. It's special, and I know one day they're not going to be in my face and I'm going to cry. I understand that. But at the same time, when you're being touched and pulled on, whether verbally or physically, all day long, it's hard sometimes to want to be touched still. And the reason I even got into all that was you were saying that just because, like, in theory, you always want to have sex. Sex always sounds great. It's always sounded like a great idea. You always enjoy it. But that doesn't mean that it's always a time where you're like enthusiastic about it.
Sure.
And I feel like that's the same with women, but it can be kind of like misconstrued because there's already some weird myth that, and I don't know about all women, but I can speak for myself. I have a pretty healthy sex drive. Like, I'm not like, it's like this weird myth out there that men are the only gender that wants to have sex all the time.
Well, sometimes.
I mean, it depends on that man and it depends on that woman. It really does, because like a lot of women, if they're having good sex,
that's
the key.
prerequisite. It's like, yeah, I'm a strong contender that your woman wants to have sex, but if she don't, it's because it's not good for her.
Or because of the stuff I was just saying. If we have, because we're emotional about it. Like men, it's visual and physical. Like that's it, and ego. And then for women, it's like we're looking for an emotional connection in the sex. And if we're not able to like it's mental and emotional for us. So like if we're not able to mentally and emotionally connect, which I remember Mike Dixon saying, we're probably going to reference him a lot because he wrote a book and everything. He's just awesome. But I remember him saying, if you help your wife out with the kids or help her with chores around the house or just do something so that she's not feeling like something is being left undone while you're having the sex. Or like do something to where she's not worried or concerned or her brain isn't somewhere else, and she's going to be more willing and less like frantic about it, because for whatever reasons there may be that you guys aren't always ready to go. We have our reasons that we're not always ready to go, but it doesn't mean that in theory we aren't always like, yeah, I love sex. I would have sex all the time if I could, but I think that's a misconception.
But it also may mean that she's not satisfied in the bedroom.
It may,
right?
Yes.
That's a fair,
And I feel like
consider.
If it's like, she never,
2
if she's
months.
pulling the, oh, my head hurts every time. Whenever it's not that time of the month, her head hurts.
That's the nice option. Like, yeah, I'm doing laundry right now. I ain't got time for that. It's like, you're not, laundry does itself. I don't understand. I'm washing these clothes. You see me washing these clothes?
No, that is true.
She ain't even folded. But yeah, those are all really good points and good to be said.
Yeah.
Let's take a look in the book. 1 Corinthians 7:3-5. The husband shall fulfill his wife's sexual needs. Amen. And the wife should fulfill her husband's needs. Amen. The wife gives authority over her body to her husband, and the husband gives authority over his body to his wife. Do not deprive each other of sexual relations unless you both agree to refrain from sexual intimacy for a limited time so that you can give yourselves more completely to prayer. Afterward, you should come together again so that Satan won't be able to tempt you because of your lack of self-control.
Amen.
Yikes. Sometimes if you would go into sex believing that my body is my spouse's, it can change the way you think about things. Right? Because if my body is my spouse's, I'm going in with a selfless sort of thing.
Right. It's to please her, not to please to be pleased.
It's not for me to It's not for me to be pleased. It's for me to please her. So I'm giving of myself. So there's times where you may not want to have sex, right? But you should, I say, do it anyway. Honestly, to a certain point. Especially as adulting. Well, adulting, I've never used that term until today. But adulting is like, it can be inconvenient. But even here, it's saying if you would take time to, if you would set aside time to pray, that's okay for you to not have sex during that time.
But then it says you both agree.
Right, you both agree, and it says come back together so that you're not tempted. Like, don't be doing it forever. So imagine if you're doing it forever and you're not even praying.
Mercy.
Like, it's going to be just the same, if not worse. It's like, make sure you're coming together,
right,
so that somebody isn't going without. Especially not men. And I'm not going to say that, women aren't tempted by other men or pornography or anything that could lead them to be doing stuff on their own or with somebody else. But men, we are handicapped in that arena.
Right. No, the Lord made it that way. It is
right.
what it is.
We are visual, and it's like, I need to see something from somebody. We prefer it be you because we love you for the married man.
We prefer it be you
because I love you, but there's, you're going to go places where you see other people. So it's better to be you than be somebody else. We don't even want that temptation or need that temptation. You know what I mean? I have to, and of course I'm always talking about, said this, I'm not talking about, attractive people, but it's like, if you see an attractive woman, it's like, I have something I can say to her all the time. And especially back when I used to flirt, I don't flirt no more.
My Lord.
Well, according to you, I don't flirt anymore.
My Lord.
But only flirt with very senior older ladies like 75 and up. I'll flirt with them. But anybody under that is not acceptable.
Have mercy.
No, I'm just kidding. Not really, but it's just like it's like the temptation is there. That's the main point I'm making.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to even look for temptation. Like, especially as a man in physicality, it's like any time you see a good-looking woman, the temptation is there for you to try anything. It's there, You just have to make that choice. You know what I mean? So that you're not literally tempted by Satan. It's like it's right there waiting. That's the bad part. Is that temptation is actually internal. It's like I can't be tempted by a man because he's not sexy to me. So my temptation is whatever I have a problem with or my issue is with. Men naturally have a love for a woman. We love women. We love how y'all look. We love how y'all are. I've said this a million times. Y'all are just better than us. So being tempted in that area can be an area of weakness. But it can also be an area of strength. Ironically, I think, because you can take like a different role. Like imagine like how a pastor can be. Like where if he can subject himself to being holy and get that self-control under control, is like he can mean something to women that maybe someone who's not as strong can.
Right.
Where
more like a father figure or a brother or
right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he can't. Certain pastors may never even put themselves in that position.
They shouldn't. Right
there. I'm not saying it like that because technically, if you're a pastor or a leader of women, like you shouldn't even be alone with them without your wife or somebody else who's a witness.
And I mean, well, yes, absolutely.
Right. You need a witness, right?
But also, like, the Bible actually says the women should teach the women.
Right.
And the men should teach the men for that purpose. Well, women teaching men is a different bag, but
right?
yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Right. If you're a pastor of a place, you're the pastor of everybody.
Right. But you shouldn't be having, he's here to speak with the women.
He's here. Well, like, hold on. But I feel like he can speak with the women as a pastor.
Well, sure,
right.
and like you said, if it's appropriate, yeah.
Right, but the point I'm making is that for it to be appropriate, is he has to be in the mental space to even be able to do it in certain capacities, where he knows that inside himself is like, oh, okay, I'm not even here for that purpose. I'm under control. I can speak to a group of women. They won't feel uncomfortable because there's nothing inside of me for them to feel uncomfortable with. Because like women, they know it's like they had y'all are better at the intuition than we are. Y'all be the main ones talking about that woman likes you. Stay away from her. We're over here like who?
Right.
But that if the man has a pure heart inside him, it lends itself to being able to minister better.
It's true. And that's also why it's a slippery slope with like just appropriate situations. Well, first and foremost, to keep within subject, have sex with your spouse. Let's start there. Have sex with your spouse and make sure you're having sex with your spouse as often as your spouse needs to have sex.
Mercy.
And that may need to be an area of compromise in different seasons of your life.
Right, within reason.
Within reason.
I can. If I want sex every day, you shouldn't just be like, oh, I have to have sex with him every day because he wants it, right?
Right, but if you need to have sex every day or desire, nobody needs. If you desire to have sex every day, and I desire to have sex once a week, maybe our compromise can be, and that's not real, but
3 or 4 days.
Maybe our compromise can be 3 times a week.
Right.
You know, like reasonable. Every other day.
Right.
Or ish.
Something.
You know, no more than 2 days.
Right.
You know, without it or something like that. But, so first of all, make sure your spouse is taken care of, because the scripture and just life experiences will tell you that, like, if you're setting yourself you're setting yourself up for failure by being deprived
Right.
sexually.
Right.
If you're not deprived, you're already starting off on a good foot. You know, but yeah, so start there. But secondarily, making sure that you're putting yourself in appropriate situations, because especially for men, because you guys are visually driven. You know, you are visually, that is how you are aroused. Like if you're like being really, really sweet to me, that is arousing to me at times, you know.
Sweet thing.
Okay, have mercy.
Sweet thing. You look good to me, girl.
Not at 75.
You look good to me, girl.
Not at 82. But but no.
Let me sing to you, girl. Oh yeah.
Okay. So anyway,
Yes.
no, but like you compliment, like telling me that I look nice today, telling me you like my hair, or noticing that I did something different with it, or like, oh, I like that outfit, or just like, hey, I want to spend time with you. Know, that's the biggest one for me. Don't try to spend time with me and not have sex on your agenda. Don't be like, let's just sit here and Netflix and chill.
Oh, please don't.
Because then we're having sex. Because that's it for me.
The real kicker is let's sit here and talk.
Oh yeah.
It's like
don't sit here and don't start it. Don't you be the one that starts off like, hey, we're sitting here talking now, and you're like initiating the conversation. Are you kidding?
Draws are off. We don't know how they came off, but they certainly
they're off, and they're now in Japan. They got tossed very far away. They ain't coming back. Like that is literally. But with men, and so for me, I'm not going to be out here in these streets. I'm going to see an attractive man and be like, ooh, he's attractive. But, and I'm not speaking for all women. Some women are more visually driven. I'm not. So like, I can see attractive men and just be like, oh, he's nice looking. I'm not like, ooh, I wonder what it'd be like to have sex with him.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Versus men, your initial go-to.
That's right.
Wow, she looks good. I wonder what it would be like to have sex with her.
Wonder how she looks naked.
You know, and that's just how men are wired. Yeah. You know, it's not that y'all want to be. What did they say? It's what did Brown say?
What did he say?
Why do you chase the cat?
Oh.
It's nothing but the dog in you. You know, like, but no, for real. Like, that's just, but the Lord made it that way. Y'all are the hunters.
Get the hunt.
You know, he who finds a wife.
I found
and
it.
why are you even desiring to find a wife if you don't want her? If you don't desire her, right. Because like you said in previous episodes, like you're not just looking for a maid. Well, you shouldn't be.
My Lord.
You shouldn't be just looking for a maid or just looking for this or just looking for that. Like the Lord put something in you to where you actually need a woman physically. You know, where it's like, I don't have anywhere to put my penis. And I need somewhere to put it.
Need somewhere to park this thing.
And she has something for me to put it in. Yes. You know, but it's like that is one of the driving forces for, because it's also nurturing too. Yeah. You know, but like that is one of the driving forces of you desiring to go after a woman, you know, and procreation. You know, like the world started off with two people, one man and one woman, and it's going to end if people stop having sex. Yes. So the Lord made certain things certain ways, you know, but with men being more visual and more egotistical, really. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. Everything okay?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, with y'all being more visual and more egotistical, because God forbid she responds to your advances, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
But like, you know, especially for the man, you definitely can't be out here deprived, and you definitely can't be out here putting yourself in bed. You should not be alone with women that you would find remotely attractive, and not even totally attractive, remotely attractive enough to have sex with.
If you like her feet, like,
right, it's too much.
It's too much.
If she's acceptable, you don't need to be. And no, but let's make it plain for people, because people don't want to make it plain.
Yes.
Make it plain.
This is the plain. If you are not repulsed by her sight, you don't need to be in rooms alone with her.
I want to elaborate on that.
Yes.
Because the reason for that is, don't be a nice guy. Don't be out here, oh, you look like something's wrong with you today. What's wrong? Do you need to talk?
Negative. That's not your rule, sir.
Draws in Japan.
Sir, that's not your rule. That's right, because you out here just being nice and you don't know her love language.
You don't.
Somebody caring about her.
And that's every woman, though. Every woman.
Yes.
We want a man that is going to care about us and is going to want to help us and is going to want to, all of that type of stuff. So it's like, don't come over here and be nice and be loving and caring. Me and my cousin were just talking about this because we were saying, and I don't know if this is true or false. This was just us thinking, right? Like we were saying how you're more than likely going to catch women sleeping with a married man more than you're going to catch men sleeping with a married woman. And like this was, I don't have no stats.
I feel like that's true.
I don't have no proof, but that's because a woman is looking for a husband, not a one night fling.
Sure.
A man is looking for sex. And you're not probably trying to break up a marriage in doing that. You're looking for somebody who's throwing it at you.
Yeah, let me get that.
Right. And there's plenty of single women out here that'll be throwing it at you. You don't have to go after a married woman in order to get sex.
Right.
But a woman wants a husband. She doesn't want just, I just need, and I mean, let's be real now. If you're single and you're getting older, you might just want, like you might just be overdue.
Yes.
But however, women typically want a husband. They want somebody who's going to care, who's going to compliment, who's going to be involved, who's going to be like protect and provide and type stuff. Oh, you need gas in your tank. Oh, you got a flat tire. That's what. And when we see a man doing that for another woman.
Right. Now he looks like prime.
Now he looks like, ooh, he should be my husband.
Yes.
And that is why there's on both sides of the spectrum, neither party, but especially men, y'all do not need to be out here, alone with vulnerable women. And you don't know what kind of woman you're dealing with.
Nah, you don't.
It's a no. It's a no because y'all can't resist if she decides, oh, but I want him so bad and I'm going to just show up in a trench coat with some lingerie underneath or naked and just open it up and see what happens.
Yes, get in between him and the door.
Yep.
Now we're in a pickle.
We're in a pickle.
I got to jump off a balcony in order to save my marriage.
And movies depict real life. There's so many movie scenes with this happening. No, I'm married. No. And here she come vixen, doing all, but you want to. And he does. He does. And he eventually don't do the right thing in the right spot. It's over.
No.
Like, and that's why I don't know. I know, especially as Christians, like we can be really like, stigmatized for being too, like, what is that word? What is the word for like a prude?
Conservative.
I guess, but like we can be stigmatized for like having too many rules, and being too stuck up and stiff and, and some people call it judgmental, all that other type stuff. But it's like the Lord says certain things. And in this, he was saying, don't deprive each other of sexual relations, comma. So that's a segment. Don't deprive yourselves of sexual relations, right? And then he says, unless you both agree to refrain because you're fasting. And even when you do that, don't do that for a long time.
Right.
But it's like he's straight up telling you, don't do that. Because the enemy is like a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. Yeah. And he's
coming.
Set it up.
Yes.
You know what, Michelle? You need to be here at that time in a trench coat, naked underneath. Because him and his wife are fasting. That's enough rambling from me.
That's
Go
very
ahead.
funny. Trying to catch a man on a fast, my Lord.
Nah, but men, go out with your wife. I remember the McGirts. That's the last thing I'm gonna say about that. The McGirts in our premarital counseling, Malcolm McGirt, he was saying he don't go nowhere without his wife.
Hey,
and he's a pastor, so he has a lot of like engagements. He has to be in churches. He has to be at, and these women, oh, pastor, I made you some fried chicken.
No, you
I
didn't.
made you a pound cake.
No,
oh,
you
pastor,
didn't.
oh, do you like this? Do you like that?
I don't.
I don't have no ride home.
I don't either.
The
end. You still don't. No. You coming to me for?
I'll call you an Uber.
I ain't calling you nothing. You better stay here at the church. You be all right. So 6 tips for having good sex.
Whoop, whoop.
Tip number 1, educate yourself.
Please.
Get the knowledge.
Yes.
I feel like the best, and we're not talking about, it's a good question, is because they do have books on sex. That can be helpful. I think within the structure of your relationship with God, that you should do that in a wise way, because certain things may be not up your alley.
Right.
But I think Mike Dixon actually wrote the book. I wish I knew what the book was. He wrote a book about
I think
that.
it's Marriage: The Secrets to Loving It,
Secrets
or something
of Loving
like
It
that.
or something like that, right?
But Michael Dixon is his name, so you may be able to just look up his name.
If we can get a book, we can put a little advertisement in here for him.
That's true.
But yeah, educate yourself. Take time to learn. Like, the reason why I could please my woman from the first time, that we started having sex is because of what I had learned. Some of that was from unsavory and sinful manners, but I wanted to know as well. It's fine to want to know. Just want to do that in a way that pleases God.
Right. And there's books that just literally tell you,
literally,
this is anatomy.
Right.
And this is the process of making it comfortable and good.
Yes.
I know really quickly, the Duggars, their dad gives a book to the men like the night before their wedding, which that may be a good timing, because you probably don't need to be too interested in how it works too far before you're actually trying to do it. But I don't know, but I actually think that maybe I would probably shoot more for like a week before, but give them a little time to let it
marinate.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Number 2. Openly share your needs and desires. I mean, this is where probably one of the biggest ones.
Absolutely.
And I would say it is probably for both, because you don't want resentment. People, especially, but you definitely don't want resentment realizing you need to be resenting yourself because you didn't say nothing in the first place.
Right.
But you think that people know what you want just because you know it. And it's not the case. Men, like, they may have an expectation of your woman and she don't even know. You want her to put her leg like this, and why would she do that? You don't know. You want to do certain positions. You want to do it in certain places. You want certain times. Whatever it is, talk about it. Don't be afraid to have those conversations, especially if you're a conservative Christian.
Right.
Or a conservative person.
Right. If you can't be free with anybody else to talk about it, talk with your spouse about it. That's who you do it with. Like, that's the safe space.
Yes. Don't be going to men.
Oh, no.
Men, don't be going to men, and that goes back to the last point. Don't be going to the other spot, especially don't be going to the other sex trying to get information. Go to them, talk to the horse's mouth. Unless you're just saying, hey, I want to get her a gift or something. I don't know, but talking about sex, ask the person, get it from the horse's mouth.
Right, and speak the truth in love. You don't want to come down too harshly.
My Lord.
When you express your desires or whatever.
You going to her, talk about, you got some things you do I don't like, and she's, you got some things.
No,
really?
Exactly, immediately.
And then she pulls out a list she's prepared for.
And that's such
years.
a touchy subject.
Yes.
It's going to be defensive.
It's going to be defensive.
Like, yeah. You got to be careful with that. And don't shoot them down either. Yeah. Like, if they say, you know what I thought would be nice if we could... If you could be a fireman next time, if I order you a costume, don't be like, what kind of, like, ew, I would never. You could just be like, it might not really be my thing.
I don't wear no red. Number 3, set the atmosphere. Know your spouse. She knows that I like it with the lights on. So she may come outside of herself and maybe get more candles because she wants to be dimly lit. Really, she doesn't want it to be in the dark, but even if she had to pick whether dark or light, she would just take dark, right?
Well, no, I like dimly lit.
You like, well, I'm saying between dark
but I
and
got
light.
You. Yeah.
Because sometimes dim is somewhere in between. You can't really get there all the time. Like, we got, like, this is our candle. I don't think we have any more candles in the house.
Not right now, no.
So in order to get dim light, and we don't have a TV in the bedroom, so it's like, it's either moonlight or, phones but setting that atmosphere for you is like, women like things that smell good. Nothing wrong with, I'm saying candles again, or spraying a little something.
Yeah, I think I said before, like,
bathing.
I've liked, well, yes.
Wash your behind, my friend.
No, and I think I said in a previous episode, I've actually sprayed perfume on the bed.
Yes.
Before.
Yes.
But yeah, couple of tips. There is like a live, like 24/7 running fireplace video on YouTube. So if you don't have a fireplace that you want to light, that's an option. If you have a TV in your room, or if you're doing it in another room, you can put that on your phone, or put it on your tablet, or put it on your TV, or like a music playlist. We've done that, like R&B music playlist, or or instrumental, smooth jazz, whatever would float your boat.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
A lot of good stuff out there. So.
And if your spouse likes lingerie.
Yeah, you set the atmosphere, and of course, then what you're wearing is setting everything. Everything that's involved in that process, setting the atmosphere. Whether it is you running a bath for her, just to let her know, hey, you take a bath and get that thing ready for me. Get that thing ready for me.
Have mercy.
I'm going to know you tonight. I'm going to know you. You know how we get down, Chels.
Terrible.
Don't always rush. Always is in parentheses.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like we said, sometimes a nice little quickie, or whatever a quickie is for you. A quickie is for us is 15 minutes is a quickie. But for some people, a quickie is a true quickie. 2 solid minutes. Amen. 2 solid minutes of strokey doking, and you don't want it to always be that.
Not always. Sometimes it has to be that for maintenance sex,
right.
It's called.
Right, maintenance sex.
It's been a couple of days and we just need to get it together, but we don't have time.
We ain't got time.
But that shouldn't be all the time.
Right. But I don't want to be tempted. I don't want to be out here on swole. Somebody walk by that looks too good and I just can't help myself. We don't want to be there. You want to have control. You need to get that release.
Right.
And act like you got some sense out in the world. Amen. Yes. Number 5, be spouse-centered.
Yes.
Like I said, I go into sex trying to please you. You know what I mean? I'm going to get mine. And that's super important for men. It's like she wants to please you too. But she needs you literally to put it in first. And no pun intended.
I was about to say, I need to clarify that.
Put in the put the pleasure in pleasing her first.
And we may need to let me help y'all.
Okay.
So the way a woman's body works is that, you have the vagina. The vagina is always slightly lubricated. That's just our anatomy. But it's typically on the drier side. There are certain things, which this part you can talk to your wife about, but there are certain things that you can do and educate yourself about the female anatomy, and that word we said earlier, the clitoris. Educate yourself on how that works. But there are things you can do to warm up the oven, as we like to say, but mainly to cause it not to be dry, and because if it is dry, there's not going to be. You need it to glide.
Yes.
Because if it is not gliding, that is not comfortable. It hurts.
Not at all.
So you need, and it also helps. Now, if you're a female who has issues with producing natural lubrication, you may need to buy lubrication. And if in the event of having a quickie, it is handy to have lubrication. So that may be something you want to. It's not expensive. Just get some lubrication. Make sure you're not allergic to it, ladies, because that is a catastrophe.
Yikes. Yes. Be spouse-centered in that way.
Yeah.
You seek to please her first, and in turn, specifically for men, in turn, she will naturally please you because that's just how her body is made up. It'll literally respond back to what you've given to it in the beginning. Yeah. In your foreplay.
Amen.
Good foreplay is, that'll get everything.
And foreplay can go both ways.
It can.
It's not just for the woman.
It can. But men don't need it as much. Like, we don't need.
Well, let's just be careful, because I've spoken to certain people that, certain men really do like that. So,
well, I'm sorry. I'm not talking about liking it. I'm talking about needing it. Like,
well, sure.
It's a difference.
I see. It's not a necessity for you.
It's not a necessity. To have proper, just standard, hey, this is a moist vagina.
Right.
I can now put something in it, as opposed to this is a erect penis.
Right.
Whether anything
It's
happens
ready
to it,
to
it's
go.
just ready.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
You're right. You're right.
Right. And lastly, variety.
Hmm.
Often called the spice of life.
Amen.
But we will adapt that to the spice of the bedroom.
Amen.
Positions and places. Oh,
and,
boy.
And, hey, and you just said of the bedroom. It doesn't have to happen in the bedroom. Variety.
As we've discussed in previous episodes, don't be in no car trying to have sex. I'm just trying to tell you now.
Unless you're very small and very limber.
And very limber. Because that you get the cramping up and be like, why did we do this?
Mm-hmm.
And now you're naked trying to get the cramp out. Terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have the bedroom, you have whatever area. I'm not going to condone certain things, but whatever area you feel comfortable in doing it.
That is legal.
Yeah. And hotels, hey, hotel sex is wonderful.
Yeah.
Because you
especially
get away.
Once you become parents.
Yes, you get away, and don't nobody really know you, and even if they do, it ain't their business. So, hey, do what y'all got to do, and you just, getting it in.
It's just luxurious.
It is luxurious. The bed is generally comfortable if you're staying at a nice hotel. Showers be right there. Oh, it's just a good time.
And they usually have a show. We're helping y'all today, okay? We understand that we're Christians, okay? We understand that we are Christians. We love the Lord. But the Lord made sex.
Y'all don't love the Lord.
The Lord made sex for married couples. If you are not a married couple, we need to give a disclaimer.
What?
Oh, we should have made a disclaimer in the beginning of this episode. This episode is for married people.
We already know that.
Well, no.
But people who ain't married gonna watch
Y'all
it
shouldn't
anyway.
even got this far in the episode if you're not married, because you don't need to be tempting yourself like, ooh, that sounds great.
Listen.
No, it's not for you.
They
So,
knew that
and mom and
already.
dad, this is not for you.
Hey.
Moms and dad, this is not for you. But hold on, what was I going to say? What were we talking about? Variety, hotel. Oh, the showers usually have enough room for two.
No, man. At nice ones. That's not.
Well, yeah, and
has
that's
always
okay
been
if
the
it's not
case.
that kind. Because look, a hotel, as long as it ain't dirty or nothing, you might as well stay home at that point. But some hotels, if you can stay at and it doesn't have to be a super high level, but even just a mid-level, mid-nice hotel, and do it for a night. We've gone 2 towns away.
Oh yeah.
We don't have to go far. We went to Jamaica and we went here, we went there, and we did all of this. We've literally gone a couple of towns away just to stay the night.
Yeah.
Away from the kids and just have a little date night.
A rendezvous.
A rendezvous.
Yeah, Ron.
Yes.
David. that was my producer name, Chelsea.
Yes.
I'm out here. Yes. Mm-hmm. But definitely positions and places. There are certain positions that goes back to actually openly sharing your needs and wants. There are positions that are more pleasurable to a woman than they are for a man, and vice versa. Try them out. Because I know my favorite position is.
Well, we can keep that. That's all right.
Oh, okay. What? Hey. Well, whatever your favorite position is, it may work for you, but it may not work for her. And it's something that may work better for her and may also work for you. You got to try it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But just don't be afraid to try it out. And that's another thing about educating yourself. There's books that will just show you a picture. You don't have to watch porn, but there's books that will describe in words or show you a drawn picture, of just, these are different positions that you can do it in. But just remember, it does not always have to be missionary. It doesn't always have to, unless that's how y'all get down. And if it is and y'all are happy and satisfied, bless you.
Yeah.
As long as you're both pleased.
Pleased. Truly pleased.
And not deprived.
And not deprived.
Yeah.
My Lord. That was a lot. That was good stuff.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope
it's a blessing.
So. But the key to this is having open communication. There's a level of intimacy that we expect people to have as a married couple to just give simple tips, but it may start there. Just having open enough communication, and I say I've seen this where people put on a blindfold and they ask a question, and the person who needs the answer is not blindfolded.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right, where the other person can't see the reaction, so they don't have a inhibitance. They're not inhibited to just speak the truth.
Right.
That's another thing. That's a free tip. In case if you want to talk with somebody freely, somebody needs to be blindfolded so that the person can't read the reaction and they won't have a tendency to try to change what they're trying to say, so that the other person isn't necessarily hurt.
Right.
So you can have open communication and just speak the truth, especially when it comes to sex. Because lady, let's be clear, young lady, if he's not satisfying you, he needs to know.
Absolutely.
He needs to know.
And it's not his fault if you don't tell him.
Right? Absolutely. Because men, listen, men have egos, and sometimes we're just crazy. Okay. We can feel like, yo, man, terrible job in the bedroom. He'll go out and tell his friend, man, I was putting it down in there, man.
And especially if you're faking, don't fake.
Like, don't be faking.
Don't fake. As much as you are trying, it does more harm in the long run.
Yes.
To have been faking, because then they're going to be like, but you were what? Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But y'all get the point. The point is, get it together. He needs the point. What was I saying? He needs to know.
And he might be telling
his
friends
he's outside. He's out here telling his friends that he put it down, but that's because he genuinely believes it. Like whether you had the responses or not. Some like men aren't always emotionally just aware. Like we can miss it, but that open communication can be the difference. And having him really have an understanding, because he could be doing fine, and it might just be some things you want to try.
Right,
but
exactly.
He could be just missing it, and just completely devoid of understanding. You're missing it,
right?
And you have to be able to talk to him about that.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to be open-minded, because your spouse may want to do certain things and let's say one of you is more tight-laced and the other one is more, I want to explore all the things. You may want to it's okay to have your boundaries, and you want to be sensitive to your spouse. Your spouse may really need, whether it be, I'm really not comfortable doing X, Y, Z, or whether it be, I'm just really, really not in the mood right now, and you need to be sensitive to both of those things. But, in return, if you're really, really not in the mood right now, try to be in the mood soon. Because they are. So,
yes.
and they can only, one thing I love that Natalie Todd said was like, your husband can only get this from you.
Yeah, literally.
So like,
can't
if
get
you
it from
keep
God.
making him.
Can't get it from God.
No, that is one thing that the Lord, he can give you contentment.
Can't give you draws.
Right. So it's like that. But, and if you don't, if he's a faithful man, or if you're a faithful woman, that's one thing you can only get from your spouse. So if your spouse is saying, hey, I'm ready, and you're like, I'm really not ready today, that's fine. That's okay. But try to be ready tomorrow, or at least 2 days from now, and give them an idea of just like, hey, but you know what? I'm going to try to be ready. Okay, maybe not tonight. Can we shoot for tomorrow afternoon? Like try to just, be mindful. But as well as if it's just a thing you're not comfortable doing, it's okay to set your boundaries, but try to be open-minded.
You know what? And here's a free tip, is give them a layup. All right? Because if I know, or if you know that me telling you that you look nice is going to turn you on, then what you do is go out of your way to look nice, right? To wear something I'll like, more than likely, because you're like, I'm not really in the mood because he's not giving me what I need. And I'm only speaking from that perspective, because it could be vice versa. But if you give him the layup, like that he's going to compliment you.
For those who are unfamiliar with basketball, that is when one other teammate pushes it up and then the other one puts it in the net.
First of all, that's not a layup.
See, this is why we need clarification. Like, I was really taking a leap there. Like,
that's an alley-oop. But a layup is just an easy shot. Like, the basket is right here. You just take the ball, just lay it
I
in.
was pretty sure a layup was a singular activity. But then when you described it that way, it made me think it was the other thing. But I thought a layup is just when you come from the side and it's
That's
like one-handed.
very funny. So give them the assist, okay?
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, which means just give them an easy route. If you know that, and I'm speaking for the ladies, because you want him to spend quality time, but if he comes home and he feels like there's things that he needs to do, you should do them so that he's free to give you quality time that'll put you in the mood. If you know that you need compliments from him, you have to do something that you know he always compliments. Oh, I love how your hair looks that way. You know I love that. I love it when you wear those jeans. So you wear the jeans, even though it's like a weird time. You woke up in the morning and it's just like, oh, she has the jeans on. That's funny. But whatever that thing is, give him that layup. If you know you're not in the mood, put him in a position to put you in the mood. That's a free tip.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. We're getting it in. Let's wrap it up.
All right.
Romans 12:10. Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves.
Amen.
It's talking about humility. Right? Humility is to put honor on someone above yourself, whether they are or not, and put yourself lower than them. This is also Romans 12:1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. In order to transform and to be devoted in the love that he's saying, honor one another above yourself, you have to be transformed. Starts off the chapter with that. You have to be renewed. You have to be able or willing to try a new thing.
Amen.
And whatever is not working, let's put that away. Let's put that to the side. Let's divorce that. That's how the Bible would say. It would say put it away. It means to divorce it.
Completely turn away from it.
Turn away from it. Put it to the side. And let's do what's working. We want you to have great sex.
Yeah.
We want oohs and ahs on both ends. You could ooh ah, brother. Ooh ah. She likes it.
Indeed. Indeed.
Thank you for watching the Better Than One and watching and listening Better Than One Marriage podcast. Come back next week. Make sure you like, comment, share, do whatever it is you can to help us get this message out. We want to help people get married, stay married,
Absolutely.
love each other in a way that's new and fresh, and sustain it.
Amen.
I love you.
I love you too.
You don't know what love is.
Bye, y'all.
All right.